On Sereno's storm-dark balcony, Count Dooku tried to speak like a master. He offered savage Opress purpose, training, and a place at his side. He even sounded calm, as if words could rebuild what torture and betrayal had shattered. Savage only heard lies. Night Sister magic still burned in his veins, and Maul's hunger for vengeance echoed in his skull. Savage stepped in close, seized Dooku's saber hand, and crushed down with raw strength. Bones snapped. Dooku's confident mask broke with it. "Too late," Savage said, low and final. Dooku reached for the Force, trying to shove Savage back, trying to breathe space into the moment. But Savage was already moving, faster than Dooku expected, and meaner than Dooku remembered. He ripped the crimson blade free and brought it down in a brutal arc. The saber tore through Dooku's chest. For a second, Dooku stared at the wound like he did not believe it belonged to him. Then the former Jedi fell, cloak dragging across rain-slick stone, his eyes wide with shock instead of wisdom. The Clone Wars did not stop, but it did change. Minutes later, across encrypted Separatist channels, Dooku's signal vanished. Officers froze. Droids waited for orders that never came. Nute Gunray demanded answers, voice shaking. Poggle the Lesser ordered full transmission lockdown. Grievous snarled, certain the Jedi had assassinated their leader, and he approved a ruthless sweep against Republic supply lines. On Coruscant, in a private chamber, Darth Sidious felt the bond sever like a snapped chain. Dooku was gone too early, before the staged finale, before Anakin was ready. Sidious did not panic. He smiled. Chaos was fuel. But a loose monster could ruin a perfect script. Savage stood over the body, breathing hard, and found Dooku's coded holorele, the one that reached Sidious. His thumb hovered above it, tempted. Last line Sidious opened his eyes in the dark, already hunting. On the Senate floor, Chancellor Palpatine lowers his head and lets the room see grief. Count Dooku was a traitor, he says, voice soft. But even traitors leave scars. Senators nod, comforted by the performance. Behind closed doors, the mask drops. Palpatine stands in his office shadows, listening to the last burst of Separatist static. Dooku was meant to die later, in a duel that would bind Anakin Skywalker to him by blood and guilt. Now the script is torn. Sidious does not rage, he recalculates. Dooku was replaceable. What is not replaceable is momentum. He pulls up a holomap of Sereno, then Dathomir. Savage Opress is no longer a wandering brute. He is a signal flare proof that Mother Talzin's magic can forge living weapons outside Sith control. Find him, Sidious orders Masameta. Quietly. No Senate trails. No Jedi reports. In the Outer Rim, Separatist governors argue, frightened without Dooku's steady hand. Grievous calls for total war. Gunray screams for protection. Sidious allows the panic to spread because panic makes leaders cling to any voice that sounds certain his. Then Sidious reaches into the underworld. Bounty hunters receive the same offer. Credits now, power later. Track the Zabrak giant. Do not kill him. Bring him alive. He also dispatches a single red-robed courier to Grievous, feeding him half-truths. Keep the droid general angry and the Jedi stretched thin for the coming trap. Sidious's real target is not Savage. It is Talzin. If Savage returns to Dathomir, he becomes a leash. If he stays with Maul, he becomes bait. Either way, Talzin will move, and when she moves, Sidious will strike. Every move he makes tightens his grip on war. Far from Coruscant, green fire swirls in a Dathomiri cave. Talzin feels a cold hand closing around her future. Last lines. She whispers one name into the smoke. Sidious. Without Count Dooku, the Separatist Council meets in a panic above Mustafar. Nute Gunray demands guards. Wat Tambor demands new codes. Poggle the Lesser demands a new political leader. They get none of it. General Grievous storms in, cape dragging, eyes burning. He does not ask for votes. He plays Dooku's last transmission static, a cut scream, then silence. Your Sith is dead, Grievous growls. So I will win this war my way. He seizes Dooku's command keys, locks the council in their chamber, and moves the fleet within the hour. Where Dooku once used patience and deals, Grievous uses fear. He orders raids on medical convoys, strikes on fuel depots, and public executions of captured clones. Every brutal broadcast is sent straight to the holonet. The message is simple: surrender or suffer. The Jedi feel the shift immediately. Republic worlds that were safe become hunting grounds. Supply lines snap. Outpost commanders stop sleeping. Obi-Wan Kenobi leads counterattacks, but Grievous refuses honorable fights. He hits, vanishes, and hits again. On Coruscant, Palpatine stands beside worried senators and promises protection. He expands emergency powers, pushes new clone drafts, and quietly lets the Jedi take the blame for every burning world. The public starts to whisper, if the Jedi are guardians, why can't they stop a cyborg? Anakin Skywalker wants to hunt Grievous, but the Council orders him to defend Coruscant. Ahsoka senses Liv's fading in the Force, swears this ends now. Then Grievous makes his boldest move. He chooses a target that will hurt the Jedi more than any battlefield victory, an evacuation route packed with children and diplomats. His fleet drops out of hyperspace, cannons primed, and his boarding pods launch like knives through the dark. A Jedi cruiser arrives too late. The first ship screams as it breaks apart. Last lines. In the wreckage, a distress signal pulses weak, desperate, alive. And Grievous orders his droids forward. Take survivors. I want the Jedi to watch. Maul returned to the throne room on Sundari with Dooku's broken holorele in his palm. The Shadow Collective chiefs cheered. Black Sun captains bowed. Pike lieutenants offered tribute. For one night, Maul let them see a victor, not a survivor. Savage did not celebrate. He paced like a caged Nexu, eyes on the star map. We strike now, he said. Grievous is exposed. The Jedi are bleeding. We finish them. Maul's smile thinned. War is noise. Control is power. With Dooku dead, the Separatists will tear themselves apart. We let them. Then, we take what is left. Savage slammed his fist into the table. You promised revenge. I promised purpose, Maul snapped. Not mindless slaughter. Even the Mandalorian guard shifted, unsure which brother to fear. Maul faced the crime lords. You will expand our ports, smuggle weapons, buy loyalty. Mandalore becomes the spine of a new order. Savage heard only chains. Dooku had used him. Now, Maul wanted to use him too, just with prettier words. Rage surged, hot and simple, fed by distant screams from Grievous's raids. Then a warning chirped from the outer patrols. Ships entering the system without clearance. Bounty hunters. Too coordinated, too clean. Someone powerful was hunting. Maul felt it. A cold pressure in the Force. Sidious. Maul stepped close to Savage, voice low. We cannot face him yet. We hide, we grow, we wait. Savage's breathing turned rough. I'm done waiting. He snatched a stolen ship code and backed toward the exit. Blasters rose. Maul lifted a hand, stopping them. Go, Maul said, eyes burning. And remember who gave you a name. Savage launched into the night, alone, chasing war. The city lights shrank, and his anger grew. Last lines behind him, Maul ignited his saber and whispered, Brother, you just lit the signal. Savage's stolen fighter cut through empty hyperspace, chasing the next battlefield. He expected Jedi, droids, or Mandalorians. He did not expect a message addressed to him alone. The holoprojector flickered, and a hooded figure filled the cockpit. The voice was smooth, patient, like ice. You killed the Count, it said. Good. Dooku was weak. Savage's hands tightened on the controls. Who are you? A master. The one Dooku served. Maul hides behind crime lords and speeches. I offer you truth. Real power. Come to Florum's dead moon. Come alone. Savage should have felt fear. Instead, he felt hunger. Training. Purpose. A chance to stop being used. He turned the ship, following the coordinates, like a blade following blood. The moon was silent, lit by a thin sickle of sun. Savage stepped onto cracked stone, saber ignited, senses wide. A landing pad waited too clean, too ready. Then the trap snapped shut. Magnetic clamps slammed around his boots. Gas hissed from hidden vents, stinging his eyes. Savage roared and tore at the clamps, but bolts lanced in from the ridges, stun fire. Heavy and repeated. He swung wildly, deflecting some, taking others to the chest. Bounty hunters closed in with shock nets. Droids marched behind them. shields raised. Savage fought like an animal, breaking bones, hurling men through the air, but the gas dulled his rage. His strength bled away one breath at a time. Above, a sleek shuttle descended without lights. Its ramp lowered, and the hooded figure stepped out, flanked by red guards. Savage tried to rise. The Force pushed him down like a knee on his neck. "You are not an apprentice," the figure said. "You are a key. And when Maul comes for you, I will break him." Savage's vision blurred. On Mandalore, Maul flinched hard. Last lines, Maul's eyes went wide, then cold. He felt the hook in the Force and still reached for it. Cold air and stun smoke filled Savage's lungs as the clamps bit into his boots. He roared, flexed, and snapped the metal with a savage burst of strength. A shock net hit his shoulders, he tore it apart and hurled 2 hunters off the ridge. For a heartbeat, he was free. Then Sidious stepped closer and lifted a hand. The Force crushed Savage back to his knees, like gravity had doubled. "You will bring Maul to me," Sidious said. Savage spat blood and laughed through the pain. "I don't serve." A green flame erupted from the ground. Night Sister, magic thin, angry, and familiar. For an instant, the pressure broke. Savage grabbed his saber, cut the clamps, and sprinted into the dust storm as Sidious turned, surprised that Talzin had touched the moon. Savage stole a shuttle and vanished into the Outer Rim. He did not return to Mandalore. He went hunting. Grievous had made the war uglier. Savage decided to make it personal. He struck Separatist shipyards at Salokami, then a munitions depot above Ord Mantell. He left droid parts stacked like trophies and broadcast a simple threat: run. Worlds that once obeyed Grievous began to stall, hoard fuel, and break ranks. Governors begged the Council for protection that never arrived. Grievous chased him, furious. But every time he closed in, Savage was already gone. On Coruscant, the Jedi felt the fear spreading like poison. Master Windu finally said the words Anakin wanted to hear. "Skywalker, you will stop Savage Opress." Anakin's jaw tightened. Pause. "I will bring him in." But as he turned toward the hangar, a new report flashed. Grievous had found Savage's trail, and Sidious had found it too. In the dark, 3 hunters moved toward the same kill zone, and none of them planned to share. Pause. Last lines, pause. In deep space, Anakin's fighter locked onto the signal. And somewhere ahead, Savage ignited his blade, because this time, he wasn't running from anyone. Across the Jedi Temple, the Force felt wrong like a storm changing direction. Masters gathered around the holomap of the Outer Rim, watching systems blink red. Savage Opress was not just killing Separatists. He was shaping fear, turning whole worlds into traps. Pause? Mace Windu's voice was hard. "Skywalker will intercept. Obi-Wan Kenobi will advise." Obi-Wan frowned, but Anakin was already walking. He wanted Grievous, wanted results, and now the Council finally pointed him at a target he could hit. Anakin found Savage on the burned docks of Ord Mantell. Smoke rose from melted droids. Survivors hid behind crates. Savage stood in the open, daring anyone to come close. Anakin landed, ignited his saber, and charged before a single word. Their blades crashed blue against red sparks, lighting the ash. Savage fought like a hammer. Anakin fought like a blade. Savage's strength drove Anakin back, but Anakin's speed cut shallow lines across Savage's armor. Pause. For a moment, Anakin saw it. Savage was wounded, angry, and alone. "Who sent you?" Anakin shouted. Savage answered with a grin. "Everyone." The duel tore through the dockyard, knocking fuel lines loose. A stray strike ignited a transport. Anakin hesitated. People were inside. Savage did not. He pressed the attack, forcing Anakin to choose between victory and rescue. Anakin dove for the transport, ripping the doors open with the Force as flames licked his arms. Savage escaped into a departing freighter, leaving Anakin with screams and heat in his ears. Obi-Wan arrived late and saw Anakin's clenched fists. "Your anger is showing," Obi-Wan warned. Anakin stared at the stars, breathing like he was drowning. Pause. "Next time, I won't let him run." On Coruscant, Palpatine listened to the report and smiled, already planning the next meeting. He would place Anakin and Savage on one course, then call it destiny. Last lines, pause. That night, Anakin received a private summons to Palpatine's office, and the Chancellor had new coordinates with Savage's name written all over them. The death of Count Dooku changed everything. For years, Darth Sidious had used the fallen Jedi as the perfect puppet. Dooku led the Separatists, fueled the war, and bought time for the Sith plan to grow. But now he was gone, and the war was moving too fast. Sidious stood alone in his dark office on Coruscant, staring out at the endless city lights. "The board has changed," he whispered. Anakin Skywalker was strong, stronger than Sidious had predicted. But strength was not enough. The Chosen One still clung to hope, to loyalty, to the Jedi. That had to be broken. Sidious needed a trial, a battle that would push Anakin beyond the Jedi path. So he turned to a new weapon, Savage Opress. Far from Coruscant, the towering warrior stood inside a ruined fortress on the Outer Rim. His yellow eyes burned with rage. Night Sister magic still flowed through his veins, and every battle only made him stronger. Sidious's hologram flickered before him. "You seek power," the Sith Lord said calmly. Savage knelt slightly, though hatred filled his face. "Give me enemies, and I will crush them." Sidious smiled. "You will face the greatest warrior of the Republic." Days later, a Republic cruiser dropped from hyperspace above the fortress world. Inside the hangar, Anakin Skywalker stepped down the ramp, lightsaber at his side. The air felt wrong, heavy, waiting. Obi-Wan Kenobi walked beside him, studying the broken landscape around the ancient fortress. "I have a bad feeling about this," Obi-Wan muttered. Then the ground trembled. A massive figure stepped from the shadows. Savage Opress ignited his double-bladed red saber. Anakin's eyes narrowed as he ignited his own blade. Blue light met crimson darkness. High above them, on Coruscant, Darth Sidious watched the battle begin. Because tonight, the Chosen One would either fall to darkness or die trying.